Hello, evening, welcome. Friday night, the weekend's here, and the Endless Celts are here to give you all the news for the week gone past. There's no Deadly Joe tonight or any daft nicknames that the other boys give. It's just me and Ross tonight. How are we, Ross?
Just the Perry's kid. I am good, mate. I've been itching to get on and have my wee bit of say on the past with the stuff that's happened the past week. But good to be on with yourself. I don't think you've been in the host chair for a wee while, so looking forward to this.
It's been a wee while, aye, you're right. It's funny. This is a funny one tonight because usually me and Ross are just all about the football, but there's been a lot in the past week. I don't know if the political stuff is the right word, but it's more kind of away for the. Yes, Jed. Evening, Jed.
By the way,
the Bincers are around now.
Thanks for the tickets, Jed, and thanks for bringing them up. Really appreciate
it. Let's fire into the topics of the week. There's no midweek game, and we're not going to touch on the game for Sunday, but we're going to touch on the whole aftermath. And like I said, we're usually kind of about the football, but this is more about the political side of things. I say political. The whole goings on and the whole.
If it's political, I'm going to now.
And I'm not one for all this sort of stuff. And I don't know if it's because we're now part of this podcast and you kind of look into all the news, but I want to touch on the whole media bias, I like to call it. I never see it before, but like I said, see, because we've got the podcast now, I can look into it more and you notice a lot more. And ever since the game on Saturday, I don't know if you agree, but not every single pundit, 99.9% of stuff I see out there is all about how the Rangers are getting closer, and it was a fantastic display, and it was refereeing decisions and the rest of it, but there's never ever any praise for us. Do you think that's fair?
I don't know if it's widespread across the media, but certainly coming for their support, their club, and you don't expect them to praises like any of our fans would or anything like that. But you look at even if Michael Beale's came in, right, he doesn't do what Martin O'Neill done. He doesn't do what Martin O'Neill done and come in and say, look, Celtic's the bench. He's obviously said Rangers. Excuse me. Celtic's the benchmark. They're what we have to get to. No respect whatsoever to what we've done in the last year or so. I just think they're so reluctant to give us praise, and it's always somebody else's fault. There's always something else happened, but it's always this narrative, like you say, we're getting closer, but the gap's no. And by the way, I've said it, the gap isn't as big as some Celtic fans think, but it's bigger than some Rangers fans think. I look at it.
Yep.
I go back to the New Year derby, right? Rangers over the piece probably deserve to win the game, right? Celtic come away with a draw, right? It's a game that it's a must win for Rangers, and Celtic come away with a draw. Then the game at the weekend there, it's another must win, even more a must win than the New Year one for Rangers. And again, Celtic don't play well. Everybody's saying Rangers had not a brilliant performance, but a really good performance for Rangers. They're getting closer. Celtic and the Celtic Sports say we didn't play well. Ange said it in his presser the day. And you probably say over the piece in that game, Celtic, for me, probably just edged it. But some people will make a case for a draw, and it's difficult to argue against that to an extent. But again, Celtic get the job done. They get the draw at Ibrox when they probably didn't deserve one. People that argue that this game should have been a draw, and they get the win. Then you go to the cup final. It's a one-off game. It's a must-win for both teams. Celtic have a good performance that day, certainly for the best part of an hour, and they win the game. They win the big game, the one that gives you a piece of silverware. That's the gap. Yep. That's the difference. The 12-point gap in the league is the gap and the difference because it's over the course of a season. It's okay saying you can get close to a team, you can compete with them over 90 minutes. That's all well and good. And if you play a team enough, one of these times Rangers are going to beat Celtic. It's law of averages, but it won't be because they're a better team than Celtic, or they've overtook them, or they're getting closer. The gap is 12 points. As I say, you can compete with a team in a 90-minute game, but the gap, the difference, is what the big games that we win, even when we don't deserve to, and over the course of a season. And we've pretty much got 2 trophies in the bag. That's the gap. That's the difference. He's only getting closer, and it's not as close as you think.
Absolutely, I couldn't put it better myself. I'll just go through some of the comments. Jed saying he's never sold as many antidepressants this week. Don't know what's happened at the weekend there. Alistair's saying that's all he's heard all week as well. Evening, guys. Hoops Boy says loser syndrome. When you lose that much, eventually your ego says we must be getting cheated. That's a fair point. Evening, Plunge McNugget. Evening, Charles. Patrick McLaughlin. Kyogo scored all the critical goals. That'll win him Player of the Year. That's a fair point as well. Monty thought we were a better team until Taylor went off. And Lawrence, that's Grandad in. How we doing, mate? Nice to see you in the game tonight. The league never lies. That's what it is. At the end of the season, the best team wins. Over the duration, it's 38 games, and there's no denying that. And we're streaks ahead in that case. But do you think it's because, I don't know if it's just maybe it's just my bias when I'm sitting watching these things, but it seems like most of the pundits are ex-Rangers men. It's all I see is Boyd and Ferguson and all these guys. And I mean, I think Sutton likes to have a dig, certainly all the time. But I think he's always pretty fair in his assessments. I think when I remember when Ronnie Dyler was in, he was absolutely slating us every week. Sutton, I think he's pretty fair in his assessments, but he does like to have a dig. But I mean, the other guys like Nicholas and Walker and all that, like, they've got no shame in putting the boot in, and I just feel like some of the pundits that are maybe the Rangers won't do that. I think that's a fair point.
I do. I don't think Barry Ferguson's just as bad as Chris Boyd, although I have to say you see Chris Boyd a lot more in the telly, a hell of a lot more than Barry Ferguson does the Go Radio and stuff like that. And I think in the immediate aftermath of a game, I think Barry Ferguson he's fairly balanced, I have to say. But then it's when it all sets in and he's looking ahead to the next game. And I think that's when he sort of goes back into that, like, I'm no in the media, I've got my Rangers head on. Yep. And he starts coming away with stuff that I can't remember exactly. He said something during the week. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I just remember being like, "Can you imagine? Was it no something? It wasn't he? He's got." I can't remember what he said, but I had Ange rattled this time. It was that's right. Gio had Ange sussed. Now Beale has got Ange rattled. Like,
that's the stuff I'm talking about.
Aye, so
like,
to say Gio had Ange sussed, right? It was wrong when he said it, and then it was proven, and after that he was totally wrong. I think he would learn for that, and then no say that Beale has got Ange rattled, because he hasn't got him rattled. There's no a bloody hanging the whole wide world, I don't think, that could rattle Ange. He's fucking horizontal, man, and he's fully he's fully at peace and believes in what he's doing. He said it himself. He's done this job for 26 years. He thinks he's gotten pretty good at it. I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can understand them saying that because they have to hold on to Sutton. And you're talking about, like, Chris Sutton, obviously, he likes a wee dig and a wind-up. I think Chris Boyd does to an extent as well, but he's full of shit, Chris Boyd. He's not a very good pundit. Chris Sutton is an alright pundit, but, like you say, when Celtic are no playing well, he'll call it out. Equally, he'll call it out when they are playing well, and he'll call out Rangers or certainly like Chris Boyd, guys like that. You look at Alan McCoist. he doesn't come away with nonsense. You don't always agree with what he says, but it's always fair. It's always balanced. It's no. He'll never turn round and utter the words, Beale has got Ange rattled. This is a ridiculous statement to make.
Aye.
Absolutely
That's
ridiculous.
The sort of stuff I'm talking about. Yeah.
Aye, and I mean, you've obviously got other guys in the media like Neil McCann and that. I think he analyses a game really well, but again, I don't know. He's not as bad as like a Chris Boyd. Chris Boyd is your ultimate, and probably Rangers fans will say that about Chris Sutton. But for me, Chris Sutton, like you've said, is tongue in cheek most of the time. Chris Boyd believes what he's saying half the time.
Yeah, talk about getting rattled. You can see Boyd getting rattled, and that's when his worst punditry comes, is when he gets himself going. See that? Remember him and Andy Walker? I can't remember what game it was, but it was a penalty, and it wasn't a penalty, and all the rest of it. I was like, it was embarrassing to watch.
Aye, what game was
Here's
that?
a point as well, though. This is another point I want to say. They keep saying they're getting closer, but Plunge McNugget says they say the gap isn't that big. But we've played them in third gear the last 3 games, and we played them in first gear. We destroy them. I think the first league game of the season where we did destroy them, we were playing at a high level, and I agree. I think the last few games we've not been in first gear, and I possibly agree that we have been in third gear, and they've still not got near us. So that's why I get a bit frustrated with these comments where it's getting closer rather than praise for us.
Aye. I mean, I think, like I've said in the final, I think for the best part of it, certainly for pretty much 45 minutes, I thought we played at a really high level, and they couldn't live with us. It was 1-0, but we got a lot of shots off, and then early in the second half, we got 2-0 up. Then we didn't take our foot off the gas as such, but Rangers came back. I think we allowed Rangers to have more of the ball and invited them to come on to us. It's not normally what we do, but you have to credit Rangers as well. We maybe tried to do that to an extent, but maybe not as allow them to have as much. And then they got that bit, the impetus we getting the goal, similar to Saturday there. But again, for that time that we played, I wouldn't even say it was a away game in the final, but for that time that we played to a pretty decent level, we took the game away from them at 2-0. And then, but if we kept it up for even 70, 80 minutes, the game's gone. So for me, again, I'll say it, the gap isn't as big as some Celtic fans think. But if Celtic bring their A game, and it's not, you just can't do it because they're human beings. But if Celtic, every single one of our players in our strongest 11 that could start, brought their A game, and every single one of Rangers players in their strongest 11 brought their A game, Celtic would wipe the floor with them. It would be 2-3, 4-1. And for me, that's the gap, that's the difference. It's not evident because no team will play to that level and will have their strongest 11 all the time. But there's a gap there. And see, at the end of the day, see if, for me, my closest rivals are talking about, the gap's narrowing and whatever. Narrow the gap if you want. See if we're still ahead. Second best in Glasgow, second best in Scotland means fuck all.
Aye, they're hurting a lot. But it's, I mean, like, I think you made a point in the group chat earlier about, and this is what I'm trying to get at about the whole praise thing. It's like, it's always talking about that side of things. And I think you said something along those lines, like, I feel like in the semi or the last game, we need to turn them over like 5-0 and win the treble before we get any sort of praise that we should be getting or the standard. Aye. And I just think you're bang on. I just think that it's a bit ridiculous because I think we are playing magic football tonight. We're going to talk on the now. I'm going to touch on later on that we're facing a record points total and the rest of it. And I just don't think it's as if like the media, like in this country, have a way wanting to see failure, because I suppose that punched the most papers and all the rest of it. But even when Ange came in, and I still think to an extent now, Ange doesn't get the respect for the media that he should get. He's still seen as this, he came here for Australia, so he's no good. Do you think that's fair?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I would agree with it. I think he does get... think he does get respect for the football he's playing and the points total that we could accumulate the goal. I think for the most part he does. Certainly, you listen to Super Scoreboard and that, and you get some of the Rangers fans coming. I heard a Rangers fan the other night coming on, and he was saying, aye, I heard a Rangers fan coming on the other night, and he was going on about how obviously the gap isn't as big, and if we hadn't made the two mistakes at the weekend, Rangers would have won the game 3-1. And the guy in the studio, I can't mind his name, had said, I know, the guy in the studio had said, well, he'd said we'd have won the game 3-1, and I think in the next game Rangers will beat Celtic 2 or 3. It's coming. That's what he said. And the guy in the studio was like, well,
Mark Wilson.
Well, it wasn't Mark. It was the guy who presents it. I
not?
can't mind his name.
Oh, aye,
he'd said like, he'd said, well, I mean, you can't go for like losing to Celtic to winning by 2 or 3 goals, and then somebody else. I think it might have been Mark Wilson. Well, I think that's what you're referring to.
Oh no, I think you texted during the week. I think it was Big Marvin Bartley.
Oh, it was Marvin Bartley. Aye, he said, well, I mean, if Rangers are going to beat Celtic by 2 or 3, they're going to have to score 5 goals. I can't even mind what your original question was there, what the point I was getting to. But I mean, what was your original question?
Can't mind.
Can't mind.
I think I said about Angie's respect, and then you kind of went on and
that was it. Aye. So
talked about that.
And that was what I was alluding to. So the guy in the studio had said, like, you can't go for like losing to Celtic, and they're scoring all these goals and they're playing really well. So he does get the recognition in that sense, especially when guys are coming on and they're talking absolute mince to suit their narrative. They do. But at the same time, there's quarters of the media as well where he probably doesn't get the respect that he deserves. Certainly, some of the guys that write for the papers, that is it Keith Jackson, I think it writes for the Sun. He's appalling. And I think there's a lot of guys try to spin a narrative and make it, as I say, make it sound closer than what it actually is, to make it more.
Yeah.
Make it more interesting, more exciting, and make it like more of a title race than what it actually is, to keep certainly the neutral. Not that there's many out there that are interested in Scottish football who's a neutral, but there will be some. But it's for them to justify their jobs and stuff like that, to make it more exciting. I think they probably don't give him as much as what he deserves. But I do think for a lot of it, you can't ignore it. What he's doing, what the team is doing, is unbelievable.
I agreed. I just with the comments, I just feel like I kind of start. I mean, if that was Man City v Man United, for example, a match of the day, I don't think I'd be seeing Shearer and co saying, "Aye, but Man United are getting closer." They would have just talked about how good Man City were. I just feel like sometimes it's not the case. The next one that I was wanting to talk about in the media everywhere is how Beale's going to strengthen in the summer, and they're going to come back stronger and all the rest of it. But do they know, like, what's Ange got to do? Just sit twiddling his thumbs all summer? He's obviously going to strengthen as well, and we're only going to get bigger and better as well. So, listen, they're obviously hurting. That's what's going on now. That's why all this stuff's coming on all over the media. I've spilled drink on my phone, which is great. And listen, I'm loving every minute, to be fair. And the club's doing exactly, and I think Ange leads by example in this case. Is just very humble. Just sit back. You do all the talking, and we'll do our talking on the pitch. So on to another bit of backlash from the game. It's not very nice to talk about, but the referee's been in for a bit of stick, and he's had there's been an investigation going on because he's received death threats, and he's been pulled for the games at the weekend, which is not what we want to see. We were touching on it. We were always going to talk about this like a couple of days ago, and then Ange and his presser goes on and talks about it today and absolutely nails it, everything we were going to talk about. But we'll touch on it anyway. Do you think that, and I think Ange alluded to this himself, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I've only seen a wee bit of it, but do you think that the managers and the captains and all the rest of the comments after the game have kind of led to this. You think it's riled up the fans a bit with because they came out and it was, we should have had this decision, we should have had that decision, and this and that. Cantwell saying that they didn't win it, we lost it. And all. Do you think that's kind of riled the fans up a bit, and that's kind of stemmed from there, and it's kind of led to this horrendous behaviour towards Kevin Clancy?
Possibly. I don't think it's helped. It's stoked the fire, if you like. Along with Rangers writing to the SFA once again for a decision that's went against them. Ange alluded to that today. He alluded to the fact, for those who haven't seen it, he said that game was a game absolutely littered with mistakes by both teams, and that decision alone didn't determine the outcome of the game. But to touch on the abuse towards Clancy, I think it's a disgrace. It's not the first time it's happened.
No.
I mean, I can't remember exactly when, but I'm sure Celtic fans have been guilty of it as well. Even down to the coin throwing incident at Parkhead, that was one to forget when it hits Dallas, although we didn't like the decisions. Similar, you don't like the decisions, you don't do things like that. That goes beyond football. But I mean, I just, to go to that sort of decision on the day, for me, in my opinion, I think it was a goal. I think it should have stood. I don't think there was enough in it for a foul. I'll not go too deep into why, because that wasn't the question. But in terms of, I look at it and I'm like, right, okay, it's a decision, but it's a subjective decision. It's like some people whose Rangers persuasion, I'll say it's a definite goal, and that a Celtic persuasion. I'm obviously a Celtic persuasion, and I'm saying for me it's a goal. I'd be looking for a goal at the other end of the park. But for Rangers off the back of that to again write to the SFA when I think the Rangers fans ourselves will know say it. I've had discussions over the last week with numerous ones, and all they keep clinging on to is that decision, and it's like, well, it was a subjective decision. Could have went either way. The referee gave it that way. But again, for Rangers to write to the SFA off the back of that is absolutely astonishing. And I think to myself, like, are we and all the other clubs the stupid ones, right? Because I don't see many other clubs writing to the SFA after wrongdoings that have come against Rangers. Now, I could use examples, like the Goldson handball, which Ange used today in his presser.
Yep.
We should have penalty Ibrox. I don't think that's subjective. I think that was a stonewall penalty. He's had numerous other ones. I think he'd won at Tynecastle. It wouldn't have determined the outcome of the game because I think they were already up 3-0. But it's a penalty kick. He had one, I think it was against Dundee United at Tannadice. Again, for me, that time, it probably, going by what I've grown up knowing, it's not a penalty, but going by the way the rule has been interpreted this season, it's a penalty. The Ben Davies one against Aberdeen at Ibrox, for me, is a stonewall penalty. It's not given. But I took a couple of notes on an instant, right?
Mm-hmm.
I took notes because I wanted to get my timelines right.
Okay.
And it was the Rangers game at Ibrox against St Johnstone, right? Again, because the penalty ones are, some of them are subjective, some of them are stonewallers. This one, for me, it could be subjective, but it was the Nicky Clark at Ibrox, right? Colin was the referee. I don't know if you remember it, Willie. He sort of slid in for the ball. Well, he came in for the ball, but he slipped, and then it looks worse than what it is. There's no intention in it. He's just lost his footing, if you like. But he does look like he's high. There's no malice in it, and I think it's absolutely evident that there's no malice in it. Initially, Colin booked him, right? And then he deliberated over it and gave a straight red.
That's right, aye.
He didn't go to the monitor, and he wasn't asked to go to the monitor. So somebody must have advised him in his ear, for me, that's a red card. Don't look at it. Excuse me, it's a straight red card. So, because you didn't go for a yellow, you didn't go for no yellow, sorry, to a straight red card. And then that decision at a later date was overturned, right? In the same game, moments later, Ryan Jack, who was the one that was on the end of that Nicky Clark foul, I was going to say he left one on Montgomery. Didn't leave one on Montgomery. It was an absolute shocker. Absolute shocker. Lands one right in his planted ankle. Column gives a yellow. And then he's asked to go to the monitor. Unlike the previous time, where he didn't go to the monitor and he gave a red. He was asked to go to the monitor this time. And it was, like I say, it was as blatant a red as you're going to get. And he went to the monitor and he stuck with his decision, right? All that happened at 1-0 to Rangers, right? Where they'd got a contentious penalty. I can't remember the exact incident of that, but they got a contentious penalty. Some said it was a penalty, some said it wasn't. But it was 1-0 at the time, right? That game could have been so much different. And that's the narrative they're pushing now. That's just one example. There's probably more, right? And they keep telling us it evens out over the course of a season. That's what they keep telling us. For me, off the back of that incident, it's no different to what happened on Saturday. So shut up and put the cranes down.
Absolutely. I mean, like, how entitled must you be to going right to the SFE after a refereeing decision? And these decisions sort of happen every week. I think Ange nailed it when he says, I mean, it's subjective. That, like, even on the podcast, in the comments, people are disagreeing on the decision. It was a penalty. It wasn't a penalty. It's very subjective, and the man in the middle's the one that's different. Ange says, because he's got to make a decision, but obviously it shouldn't affect his personal life. Him making that decision, and it's sad that it's went down that road. But like you said, I mean, whoever's made that decision to go and write a letter to the SFA, surely they could understand like the sort of backlash that's going to come back on them for that, considering the decisions that have went this year. Ange nailed that one as well. You said, he said, we should have had a penalty at Ibrox. We never got it, but we didn't. We just had a moan about it after the game, and that was it. Moved on.
Aye.
Like, how does somebody come to that decision that we're like this is what we're going to? It's not going to change the outcome of the game. There's like, I don't understand what good can come of it. What are they looking for? Like an apology or like what? I don't understand. It's not going to change or affect the result of the game. They're not going to go back and replay the game. I just don't understand what the thinking behind it is.
It's mental, mate. It's like, I mean, again, I've back to the amount of decisions Rangers have had, even seasons gone by, the amount of times in seasons gone by before VAR came in. I distinctly remember one at Easter Road, they got a decision, the Hibs player get sent off, and it was a really tight game. Hibs player get sent off, and it got overturned during the week after it because it was never a red card. And that's happened more than one occasion.
Yep.
I think to myself, as every other club, the stupid ones, or
that's a fair point. I never thought about it like that until you said that.
Because they just, it doesn't matter. Like, I really don't get it. Sometimes I think to myself, it's akin to like a petulant toddler where they're so used to getting their own way that when they don't get their own way, don't quite get their own way, they just go off in one and go after heat. And I just think to myself, babies, big babies, babies.
Baby. Get on
How
with the
good
game.
was that, eh? How good was that?
Baby. Baby. Oh, it's the best thing. He's the best thing on telly. I could sit and watch him all night.
Comedy gold, mate.
Brilliant.
Absolute comedy
brilliant.
gold.
You got that in the night, man. That's absolutely superb. Here's another point now. Should we be writing letters about this? You see this boy that in the women's game that he'd butted, he only got, I think it's a 6-game ban he got.
6-game
How
ban.
the hell do you get a 6-game ban? Mitrovic pushed a referee the other week there for Fulham and he got like an 8-game ban. This guy's went up and it's not, I mean, he's not fucking Glasgow kissed Fran Alonso, but he's went to stick the nut in there and the worst he's getting is a 6-game ban. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Aye, it's a joke. I mean, like you say, it could have been a hell of a lot worse, but the intent was there. He
How do
never pulled out it.
you imagine that was Beale's assistant coming up to John Kennedy or coming up to the Ange and doing that? He's not getting a 6-game ban, is he? He's losing his job.
Aye, a 6 lifetime ban. Aye.
Absolute madness. Absolute madness.
Yeah, the guy should lose his job, aye.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. But oh, what's this here? Hold on. Aye, that's right. Look, remember this? You get half the ban for doing a helicopter in the. Well, it's not really a helicopter. It's an aeroplane, is it not?
Aye, I mean, if he done the helicopter, he should get banned for life and put in the jail.
Get the helicopter. That's true. I never even thought about that. Hoots boy, but he's getting the helicopter. But it's true. He's done the aeroplane, and he only gets that evening. He gets half the ban that this boy's got for dropping the nut. I mean, is it the same? Is it the same body that deal with it? Is it still the SFA that deal with the women's game, or is there a SWFA? Is there a women's?
Absolutely, I couldn't tell you, mate.
That's just nuts. Right, let's have a look.
You know me and women's football kids.
I know. Did you see that Scotland goal during the week? Meant to be a belter. I sat and watched it, and then the keeper, I was like, oh, that's the usual keeper. Never mind.
What's the goalie doing, Tina?
Sturdy sources, pissing them on about the rest, just a deflection of the way they played. They have us talking about that instead.
Yep.
Fair point.
Even the one, sorry, Wally, I know you're touching on comments, but just even the one, another deflection was Tavernier and Beale coming out after the game saying the Jota one when with Kyogo's second goal, it was handball. Like,
embarrassing, eh?
They've surely watched that in the hangway in the changing room before coming back out and doing the interviews and went, it's not a handball. But they've pushed that narrative. It's embarrassing.
Aye, it is. It's super embarrassing. But they kind of do you not think they put unnecessary pressure on themselves by saying next time round we're going to do this and do that, and then they come out and it's like the tail between the legs and they've got their back up and they're annoyed, and then this spiel keeps coming out. Do you not think it's unnecessary pressure they keep putting on themselves? And by the way, I think this all stems from the manager.
100%. 100% agree with that.
Every press conference he's in, and I know certain managers like to say certain things to get fans on side. You've got to say certain things and back the club and all the rest of it. But sometimes I sit and watch what he's saying and I'm like, are you on another fucking planet?
Mate, see when Michael Beale gets a microphone put in front of him, I think whoever's giving him the mic laces it with a Class A drug in front of it, on the top of it, and he just doesn't stop talking.
It's true, and he like, I just feel like he keeps digging himself a deeper and deeper hole and opening himself up for so much more criticism by saying the things he's saying. It's all right. Like, it's all right for him to come in and say like, we're a bit behind and I'm gonna need time to rebuild it. But he's like, that's not what he says. And like, and there needs to be self-confidence. But see all this. Well, it's obviously not the case now because we beat them at the weekend. But it's like, oh, we're level on points with them ever since I came in, so it's not my fault. It's like, it's embarrassing, mate. And all this stuff about Ange and he's a lucky man, and like, come on, mate, come on. It's every time he talks, I'm just like, what are you doing? And like, I love it, but I'm like, what are you doing? You're a silly boy. And you didn't come up. It's like Alex Ferguson. You didn't come up and try and do the mind games with Ange because he'll just absolutely put you in your place. I just think that, and it does. I suppose it's motivating the players, and it's trying to. It does make it feel like you need to win so much more. If you talk like that, you need to back it up, and the team's not done that. And I just, like I said, I just think it's total unnecessary pressure he's putting on himself, the team, everybody.
I 100% agree.
I think he's going into every game and it's like he's stepping up to take a penalty and telling the keeper where he's gone. And just putting himself like totally under pressure. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? It's mad. Everybody in the comments seem to agree. But I mean, it seems like this week the team, the supporters, they're proper imploding. It's all been negativity from their side, and I'm just loving every minute, sitting back and just enjoying it. Just like Ange and the boys will be as well, humble as. We don't need to say a word now. You're doing all the work for us on that side of things. We're just turning up and doing the business.
Aye, I mean, well, I mean, you're talking about there, like the Rangers lose the game, and in the days prior, you've got Cantwell. We lost it. They didn't win it. Tavernier coming out and saying you'll see the real Rangers the next time. He said that the last time. He said it the time before that. I just think if that was Celtic players, one, Ange would not have it. It just wouldn't be happening. Plain and simple. And then if me as a Celtic supporter was watching Celtic players doing that off the back of how many defeats or how many games without a win against Rangers now? I can't remember exactly. It's about 7, but it dates back to the first derby of last season where they beat us 1-0, and even then, with a makeshift team, if you like, it was very close. Rangers got over the line. I just think show a bit of respect, like in the aftermath and the lead up to a game, in the sense to not give the team who is better than you more incentive than they already have. And then go out onto the park, and that's where you don't show the respect. That's where you obviously respect your opponent, shake hands and stuff like that, but on the park in terms of getting in faces. And they did do that to an extent on Saturday, have they? Rangers did get in about us. And to sort of veer off the point a wee bit, going back to the actual game on Saturday, Celtic, we've said, haven't played brilliant in the last 2 or 3 games, bar maybe an hour in the final. But they've still got the job done. But I think the game at Ibrox and then the game at Celtic Park, probably the second half at Ibrox up until the last 10 minutes, and then for a good maybe half an hour of the first half at Parkhead, I felt Michael Beale's tactics on Callum McGregor were spot on. He totally nullified them. And then obviously Celtic just keep doing their football, and it does come good in the end, and more often than not it does come through, and that was the same on Saturday. But I just think Ange needs to find a way to stop Beale nullifying McGregor for periods of a game, because that allows them that allows the scoreline to be closer because they stop McGregor. He needs to find a way stopping McGregor, and then we'll prevail even more, I think. What that is, I don't know, but I'm not the manager, and I'm sure Ange and Kennedy and Huell and all the rest of it are all working on that, because it has happened, like I've said, for parts of some of the games since Beale's come in, and you have to credit him with that. But at the end of the day, the game's 90 minutes, no 80, Mr. Gerrard, and that's why we prevail.
It just seems like that, like them not getting a trouncing off us, and sort of laying a glove on us and giving us a game seems to be like a success at the moment. I don't know if that's just me. This is just the way I perceive it. It's like all pundits are saying they're getting closer and all the rest of it. It's like it's an achievement that they didn't get absolutely done in. Ian McIntosh says that Beale's invented his own league table, which he's now sliding down, which is bang on. You might have been level when you came in, but you're now 3 points behind. San Fran Celtic evening, mate. Kenny Miller has been spectacular, absolutely. Did you see that? Who was it posted that where he was like, we should have in the 2006 game where Marvin Andrews is in, we should have had a penalty there too. It was like, what? What are you talking about?
Let's all go back in time, eh?
Embarrassing. No, it's great. Long may it continue. We'll keep doing what we're doing. Moving on. And Ange and the boys are chasing, I mentioned it a wee bit earlier, chasing down a record points total at the moment. I think if we win every game from now until the end of the season in the league, we do. I think it's 106 is the record at the moment, I think, and we've got a chance of getting 108. 109, is it? Sorry.
109, I think.
And is it? It's an absolutely ridiculous feat, to be honest. See, when you're sitting, it's a strange feeling because it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Getting 109 points in a season and scoring, I think the records for goals is. I think if we get 3 at the weekend, we scored 100 goals in the league in 32 games or whatever it is. Absolutely ridiculous. But at the same time, when I look at this team every week, I'm like, I don't care who it is we're playing. If we come and turn up, we'll destroy you. So it's the most ridiculous feeling for me watching games because on one hand you're like, nah, you can't do that. You can't get 109 points and score fucking however many goals. And on the other hand, I'm going, well, yeah, you can because like the team's ridiculous now. What do you think about it? The points total possibly and how the team is. I mean, Ange said it end of last year. We're going to come back bigger, better, stronger because we never stop. And they've definitely shown it so far this season.
Aye, the big man hasn't told us a lie. He came in the door, and he's not going to start now. I think if we get to that, I mean, we spoke about it last week when I was hosting, but I think that if we get to that points total, it's a phenomenal achievement. Brendan Rodgers, we spoke about it, went through an entire league season unbeaten, and Ange is going to surpass that points total by 3 points. So that tells you how good it is for me because he has lost a game and still surpassed that because he's only drew one other game in the league. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. And I said it last week as well. Not only that, but this run goes back to when we lost to Livingston with the makeshift half team that he'd sort of half built. And then we get the January window, we get to January, and then we kick on for there with our Hatatis and stuff like that. And it's just went like that ever since domestically. Yep. And it's phenomenal. I've said it. They're the best Celtic team on the eye that I've ever seen.
What's ridiculous as well, Ross, sorry mate, just to jump in, but you said earlier that like you can't bring it every week. And I totally agree, but I think we've had one off day this whole season in that Freak St Mirren game. I think even the draw that we've had this season, we could to go all Michael Beale on us. We could have had a penalty and could have won the game as well. Like to have that consistency is in this day and age in the game, I think is just absolutely ridiculous. And we've had one proper off day. Other than that, I think we've been. Even in our third gear is magnificent to watch.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you say we've had one proper off day, and I do agree with that, but 2 seconds. Oh, right, enough. Sorry. Aye, we have had one proper off day, right, and I do agree with that fully. Mm-hmm. But you look at the game last week, we weren't good. There's been numerous games where we've not played to our optimum levels, if you like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I like that because you watch this team and it's easy in the eye, and most of the games it's fairly easy. But you get the games where it's difficult. The game at Tynecastle, you're asked questions.
Yeah.
They come up with the answers every single time, even when they're not playing well. So as much as it's easy in the eye, there's durability there. There's belief. There's that never stop. But hey, they show all the facets of the game over the course of a season. And I'll go back to it again. That's the difference. That's the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Just a couple of comments I wanted to kind of bring up there. Jed says that last year we scored 92 after 38. Mm-hmm. We beat that already. Alistair's the man with the stats as usual, chasing a world record. Red Star hold at 108. I'm assuming it's 108 points, 127 goals in 43 games. So there will be 5 less games than that. There's Jed saying we've already scored 98.
Right.
Absolutely fantastic. And It's obviously amazing what's happening this year. Do you think we're setting ourselves up for how much better can you do? Is that a scary is it a scary thought for other teams next season, or do you think that it's like we've done so well? That's kind of something that we can chase next season to get even bigger, better, and stronger. I don't know if Ange can say at the last game of this season, bigger, better, stronger. We'll be back better because beating 109 points is all nigh impossible, surely.
But it is nigh on impossible. My worry is in the modern game, you tend to see, and I've not seen Ange at other clubs or that, so I can't say for sure. But you tend to see really good managers. They come in and they have an amazing 2 years, and then the third year dips.
Yep.
Rodgers, to an extent, was he 2.5 years? So
2.5
that sort of half season. And Anthony said that the second season was a major drop for the first season. But Postecoglou's, isn't he? My worry is that there'll be a drop off. But if Ange is signing players for 5 years, for the most part, when they come in, then to me, he's a really honest, straight up guy. And if he's bringing guys in for 5 years, I believe that he is going to be there for 5 years. Now, I know that he's obviously been here for 2 years, and if he brings a guy in for 5 years now, that doesn't quite match up. But I honestly think Ange is here for a bit of a long haul. What's that?
We've seen that with a couple, like Juranovic and Giacomakis and that. Do you think that's something that he looks at? Sorry, just to cut you in.
No.
Do you think that's something that he looks at as well, though, that he doesn't want the team to get stagnant, so there's kind of that turnover and that conveyor belt? Because of that reason, he wants to keep guys hungry and he doesn't want people to rest on their laurels. Do you think that's a reason behind him punting some of the boys as well?
I think it's partly it. I think that, and the fact that if guys are making, we've alluded to it a million times, if guys are making noises that they might want to move on, as soon as you make a noise, I'm just like, listen, you need to be all in 100% for the style of football we are playing, the camaraderie, all the rest of it. I just think that if they're making noises to go, they'll go. And even, like say, guys who are maybe not making noises to go, like your Hatatis, there'll be big clubs come in for him. I don't think Ange will stand in anybody's way if their head gets turned slightly by a big club or whatever. Celtic's a big club, of course, but you get my sentiments, obviously, moving to a bigger league or whatever.
Aye.
I don't think Hatati going to Brighton.
No.
I would be disappointed, but at the same time, they're riding high now. A move like that from, it might work out well, it might not. But apart from that, I don't know. I think that he said it himself, it's evolution. The players there'll be a lot of players coming and going over the next course of 2 years or whatever. And he will fresh. It's different for when, like say, you've alluded to it, Alex Ferguson knew when the cycle had ended and he had to change it and get rid of guys. I think Ange, I'm not comparing it to Alex Ferguson, right? But I think that he sort of has got the same sentiments, if you like, but I think he'll do it quicker because Alex Ferguson didn't have players that wanted to leave Man United as often as maybe guys at Celtic will get their heads turned. So Ange is doing that sort of turnaround of squads and teams that he's building in a shorter period of time. I know he's only been there 2 years, but you've seen that change from when he came in to the guys he brought in, and a couple of the guys have left and other guys have came in. So I think the team will change all the time, and it'll be a lot quicker than what, like, say, an Alex Ferguson did for the sort of reasons of
absolutely, totally agree. It's the same train of thought, but a different scenario because Alex Ferguson was doing it with the boys who didn't want to leave because they were the biggest club in the world at the time, whereas Ange's got to deal with bigger clubs coming in. I honestly think Hatata. I know we don't like to use the name bigger clubs, but I know for me, I like to say elite clubs at the moment. These There's only five or six for me that are proper elite, and I honestly think Hatate could play for. The sky's the limit for him, honestly. But
Aye.
back to the comments, because there's a few guys, and I think this is a fair point. I never even thought about it myself when I said that how we're going to better next season. But winning the league by 6 points plus next year and getting out the Champions League group would be a better season. Absolutely. Bigger bet on the Champions League next year. And I think that's going to be the next step for Ange and the boys, is to have
See,
a better
just when
Champions League campaign.
I don't know who. Sorry, Wally. Who was it said winning the league by 6 points? Paul?
Yeah. Hoops boy.
Aye. See, just touching on it sort of brings me back to the gap scenario again that's getting closer. I'd said it in that message I'd said to you. Like, Rangers are on course for a 94 to 96 point season this season. And they cannot get close to us. 12 points is not close. That's how good a season we're having. It's incredible. And that 94 to 96 point would probably win, I don't know. Maybe
I reckon if you go, I reckon if
half,
you go through
half the leagues, half the leagues, and at least half the leagues in the last 30 years, that would be enough points total. I don't know if that's a slight on the quality of the teams below Celtic and Rangers, or if it's how well Rangers have done. I'm not sure, but what we can definitely say is it's no question how well Celtic are doing.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So talking about kind of just to veer off a wee bit, but I've not even got this down. But talking about how coming back bigger, better, stronger next year, is there? And I know we have this conversation a lot, but in this team, is there anywhere that you would like to see us strengthening for the season coming?
Yeah, bastard, yeah.
And see the problem with the turnover as well, because I totally understand that you're bringing these guys in, you're selling them on for big money, and you're turning it over. And not only is that doing the business for us financially, but like we said, it's keeping boys fresh and their heads in the game. We're not getting stagnant and all the rest of it. It's sort of like having a lone player. I'm falling in love with these guys, and then they have to go, and it's fucking breaking my heart. Giacomakis and Juranovic was tough, but at the same time, however many months later on, and Alistair Johnson has been unbelievable since he's came in. Totally bought on to everything Celtic's about. He's a hardy wee boy. He's exactly what we like to see. Hardy in a challenge and the rest of it. And Oz came in, and it's difficult for him because he's only getting 20 minutes a game. It's difficult for him to show what he's about. But do you think, obviously I've asked you the question about Hingy, so I'd like to hear what you say about positions you like to come in, but do you think, based on what you've seen so far, although it is difficult for him to show what he's about, that O's good enough to be the backup to Kyogo?
I'll answer the O one first.
Do you think he's an upgrade in Giacomakis?
I don't think he's an upgrade in that Giacomakis.
Yeah,
I think that they're different players.
Yep.
In terms of prowess in front of goal, absolutely not updating Giacomakis. I would have to say that, and this is going to be controversial, right? Because the guy is, I know, but the guy is, Henrik Larsson was unbelievable, right? But see, in terms of, boof, it's a goal. You know it's a goal. I think Giacomakis is better than them all. I think he's better than Hooper. As a finisher. Just a what's the word? Just
clinical in front of goal.
Aye. There was a different word I was looking for, but that's exactly it, right? But I think in terms of that, in front of goal, there's no many, if any, better than Giacomakis. In terms of what he brought to the team, his physicality and all the rest of it, it was great. We all wanted him to play. We all made a case for him. But then you look at what Kyogo has been doing in the last few Celtic Rangers games. He scored like 5 in the last 3, I think. But anyway, I mean, going towards O, I don't think he's an upgrade in Giacomakis. But what was that?
I was asking if you're pissed.
I'm no. I've only had 3 beers. I don't think he's an upgrade. Am I talking shit like?
No.
I don't think he's an upgrade in Giakoumakis, but
I certainly think he brings that. I certainly think he brings the physicality that we're talking about, but it's just because he's just he's no clinical in front of goal. He's not sure that he's as clinical in front of goal.
Oh, absolutely. But I think his game out with that is as good as Giakoumakis in terms. In fact, I would even say that he links the play up better than Giakoumakis.
Aye, that's a fair point.
I don't know about his strength. See, in terms of when you're trying to see a game out, it's maybe 1-0, 2-1, whatever, and you bring Giakoumakis on to hold the ball up in the corner, stuff like that.
He wants to score.
No, well, Giakoumakis is really but I think he's really good at that as well. He came on in a game last season. I can't remember who it was against. And he came on. He just saw the game out brilliant for us. But I think links the play up better. I think he rolls a defender better. I think at a corner, strength wise, he's every bit as good. But he's 21. He's still learning in the game. Giakoumakis is, I don't know, 27 maybe.
Yep.
So he's got.
I
would say that Giakoumakis, as I say, he's a better finisher. The rest of his game, I don't think Giakoumakis is much better than him. So you would have to say he's got scope to be better than Giakoumakis because of his age. But is he better than him right now? No. But I'm happy with him. I'm happy with him. And I think when you look at it, you look at Alistair, like we lost Giakoumakis and we lost Juranovic in a January window.
Yeah.
And when we lose players like Edward and Dembele down the years, you felt it.
Yeah.
I've never felt, certainly not when Juranovic left, I never felt it because Johnston was already in the door. Giakoumakis left, I felt it for a day or so, and then I was like, well, this guy's came in and he's looked all right. And I've never sort of pined for them or that. I don't know, pined for them, that's a stupid thing to say. You know what I mean, though?
I know what you mean.
But so that's testament to Ange and the way he's doing things. But I'm quite happy with you. In terms of the team and where I would like to strengthen, if you're looking at in sense of Europe, then I would say I would like to strengthen everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Because that in an ideal world, but you can't do that obviously. So then you've got to look at, and Stephen has been thinging for Joe Hart for a while. And listen, he said he's a good keeper and he's done well, and I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
Can we get better? Absolutely we can. Can we get younger? Of course we can.
You're not going to be disappointed if you don't replace him, though.
No, but what I would say is, I would be worried if we sold him and brought somebody in.
Yeah.
I would rather keep Hart because we've had our fingers burnt before with Forster. And don't get me wrong, Forster said he was coming, then he didn't come. But we stupidly let Gordon go, and then we were up shit creek. It didn't work out. It could have worked out with Barkas, but it didn't. We need to learn from that mistake. And if we're going to bring in a new keeper, and it's a younger guy, we need to keep Hart. Even if we get rid of Bain, I don't know what sort of contract or how long he's on, to free up that space, though, the wages. And I know the new keeper who we hope, I don't think Siegrist can be that, by the way. So that's why I'm talking about another
number one keeper, yeah.
Aye. I think that if we bring another number one in, then we have to have Hart as that safety net. I know we've got Siegrist there, but I would still, if it doesn't quite work out for that guy, then at least we know we can bring Hart in, who's experienced the past 2 years under Ange, and can still bring that. It's that safety net. But if we can get somebody who can improve us in that area, then absolutely. Defence, you look at Starfelt, we've got Kobayashi in. I don't know if he's ready to take Starfelt's place. As much as Starfelt gives me the fear sometimes, I think you have to say for him 90% of the time, he's a very good player for Celtic.
Yeah.
So right now, again,
That's how I
if we
feel
can
about
get...
Hart. Sorry, that's how I feel about Hart, by the way. And but you see, because if Hart makes a mistake, it's going to get scrutinised and it's going to go in the back of the net. I think Starfelt's got the mistake in him, but we can recover well in other areas that make it look less like a mistake. And I think Hart gets a bit more stick than he should, in my opinion.
I would totally agree with that. I think he does. I think he gets a lot of undeserved stick. That free kick on Saturday, for me, initially when I seen it, I thought he was too far over. He actually wasn't. His positioning and his wall was quite good. The more I see it, but I still think, as good a free kick as it was, by the way, I still think a younger, more agile, and as good quality keeper as Hart's been, maybe gets a hand on it. I'm not saying he keeps it out, because it's a really good free kick. It's in off the bar. But I think Hart should be getting a hand on that. I really do.
It's the first time I've heard you agree with Stephen.
I know. But I really do. I think he should have done better. And even if, well, see, before that free kick was hit, I thought if this is on target, it's a goal, because it casting my mind back to Lee Griffiths' 2 goals at Hampden against England. The 2 free kicks were brilliant free kicks, but I can't mind which one, but there was at least one of them where Hart should have saved it. Wasn't he right in the top, or wasn't he right in the bottom corner, or whatever? That was 3 yards in off the post. For me, he has to get something on it. He almost he dives for it for a standing start. He doesn't shift his feet at all. Dives for it for a standing start, and then he almost like pulls his arm away from the ball. I don't know. For me, he has to do better. But again, he's made some amazing big saves for Celtic, and people will say, "Oh, you should be talking about the save he made in the second half of Morelos." It's a good save, but if Joe Hart doesn't make that save, he's well just packing his bags now.
Right. Absolutely. Dan Breen, I'm getting there myself, pal. And there's no many. It's a small list, but there's a few. What do you think, Kate? Do you think Awata's got a big part to play in the rest of the season and next season? And in particular, the Champions League?
I think
Stephen kind of goes on about a lot about in the midfield area, like kind of more two sitting, and he thinks that it should be Kilmarnock and him and Hatate being the man that's in the further role. Do you think that's something that they might look at next season, and do you think Awata will play a big part?
Possibly. I mean, you don't bring in the Japanese Player of the Year to be a bit part player.
Yeah.
He's not had to put him in quickly like he did.
Well, that's the thing as well. Do you think that's clever what he's done? Where he's kind of he's not just thrown him in. He's kind of, because you can see it's kind of coming in, and I reckon he's going to get a lot more starts between now and the end of the season, and he's kind of just eased his way in.
100%. I think he will play a big part. Like I say, you don't bring in the Japanese Player of the Year, a guy that you know really well that you wanted to bring in last year, but you gave him another year in Japan just to get even better.
Yeah,
I think Ange would probably admit it himself. We all said in the podcast last week, and again, I'm not saying I know better than Ange, but I think Awata should have started the game last weekend. Off the back of his Ross County performance, I thought was very good. No amazing, but people, and Stephen said it the other night, and again, I agree with Stephen. I don't know what's going on. But people are looking for Awata because he's Japanese, because he's a midfielder, to be as if he's going to be the replacement for Hatate when he goes. He's never going to be that. He's a defensive midfielder. He's going to be the 6. Anytime he's played, he's went into the 6. And McGregor, who is our stalwart and Angie's trustee in the 6, and now gets moved up one for Awata to play that role. I think in Europe, Awata is going to be pretty much a first, other than your Kyogos, your Hatatis. I think Awata will be the first name in that team sheet.
You do, aye.
And I think the midfield 3, certainly in Europe next season, with the personnel we've got now, would be Awata, McGregor, and Hatate. But
it's interesting
I mean,
because
time will tell.
it's interesting as well because I think. Dare I think this before I say it? I think some of O'Reilly's best stuff for us is when Kilmarnock was at the team and he played that 6 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really interesting because I think he could play there as well in Europe. So there's a plethora of options if we keep hold of the guys we've got. Plus, he's going to strengthen. It's very exciting for next season, and it's been absolute magic this season. So long may it continue, but we'll move on. And we're going to move on to Jota on the wing. Jota on the wing. This song.
I'm really sorry, right? But
Can
can you go to the comments? I'm bursting for a pee, man.
I'll go
Absolutely
to the comments,
bursting.
I'll go to the comments.
Sorry, man. I'll be as quick as I can.
No worries. I kind of brought up that about Awata, and all you guys in the comments are saying that player of the year he's came in. I think he's done really, really well to the team, and I think he's got a lot to show. Strange love, Doctor. I shouldn't have. This is funny. Does he have a part to play moving forward? You know what I meant. I'm not saying that we should sell the boy. I'm just saying that the way he's been eased in, do you think that he's going to play more of a part? He has looked brilliant. I totally agree with you, but it's difficult to change that midfield 3 we've got. I mean, McGregor, as much as I think he's brilliant in number 8, there's a wee bit of feedback on Ross's thingy, so apologies for that. And I think that some of his best stuff's been in number 8. See him playing that number 6 in the last couple of years, I think he's been absolutely amazing for us. And do you lose a bit of that if you play Awata in the number 6 and play number 8? I'm not so sure. And if you're going to play him, you're going to have to drop the likes of O'Reilly or even Moy. And I know they've both come into some criticism this year, but I also think they've done some fabulous stuff this year. O'Reilly's been in for a lot of criticism, and I don't know if he still is, but I think he had the most assists in the league this year. Added another one on Saturday, obviously. So I don't think it's as easy as saying that he's definitely going to walk in. There we go. Let's have on your cue. Ian McIntosh agrees. Matt's unlucky to lose his place due to the emergence of Moy. It's affected him. I agree with that. This blows my mind. Kevin 14 says Japan must be some team with Awata, Hatate and Kyogo's not a team. Absolute madness. How the hell they were in the team? And that, I mean, it kind of comes back to the Japanese managers' comments about whatever league and all the rest of it. I was their player of the year last year, so how he doesn't get in the team is beyond me. Stephen, we've already talked about this morning or this afternoon. You ran the battery out of my car because I was so incensed about it. So I'll just leave it at that. Moy cannot play in Europe next season. Moy's been fantastic this season. This was part of our group chat the other night as well, Ross, the boy for Frankfurt that's out of contract, but he is on stupendous wages, I believe, and he's already on Dortmund's radar. So I don't think that's going to happen. But listen, we don't need to buy every Japanese player that's out there. We're looking all right now. There's Alistair. Yep, he's never far away. He needs to have the Moy bashing. So, So I was saying, Jota on the wing. This song's been living rent free in the whole of Scotland's heads for the past month or so. The greatest football song ever written. The love affair between Jota, the fans, the club, it's just as good as it's ever been at the moment. The guy's obviously a class act. It's so good to see that he's loving his time at the club. And when you get a connection like that with a player, let me hide that comment. It's magic. It really is. And he's performing on the pitch at the moment as well. Just gives a wee bit on the love affair. I'll get the comments up on my phone of what he said during the week, but he's just absolutely loving it at the moment, and I think that's reflective in his football.
Absolutely, Jota, like Kyogo, has scored in the big games. He's a big game player.
Yeah,
and even when he maybe doesn't score, he always always, even if he's no playing great, he always affects a game. Celtic weren't playing great at St Mirren the other week. They were down 1-0. Jota came up with the goal. He affected the game when we weren't playing great and gave us the impetus to then go on and win the game. I'm sure it was the first goal. Was that right? I think it was, eh? The equaliser at St Mirren the other week when we were down 1-0. And then we won 5-1. I think Jota got the he did get the opener.
Even on Saturday there, mate, he's the reason that the mistakes made for Kyogo's goal, and then it's his persistence and pressing for the third as well. He's just it's not just 14 step overs and a cross. He's got the other stuff in his locker as well.
100%. Well, I've sort of said on Jota before, he is that guy in a lot of teams that could be that luxury player. You just let him have a free rein, go and do what he does, and the rest of the team will do the hard yards, if you like, to allow him to go and do his tricks, flicks, and whatever. But that's not what this team is, and that Ange will never allow that.
Yep.
Jota isn't a luxury player, but you said it there, you nailed it. That pressing for the third goal, even the second goal, he plays the cross in and it gets cut out. But he can't. I don't know. His momentum's taking him that way anyway. But he carries it on in, and I don't remember who was out in that side. I think it was Barisic. He stops, but Jota keeps going.
Yep.
And we create the goal for it. And even the third goal, it's a poor pass back, and probably if it's not Al McGregor and it's a younger keeper, maybe Jota doesn't quite get there. But it's not. It's Al McGregor.
Yep.
That's the gap. That's the difference.
That's exactly what you're talking about. If that's the other end and Starfelt plays that pass, Morelos or Kent's no in there trying to nip in and press like that, are they?
No, because they're not that high up the park. But see, at the same time, he gets there, right? But he's going at full tilt to get the touch on it and not take, because you could knock that too far in front of yourself quite easily at full tilt. He gets the touch on it enough to take it round McGregor, and then for a tight angle, he gets the protractor out and he slots it home. He's absolutely first class.
How good's the video that's been going about where it's him and Henrik at Ibrox side by side doing the round the keeper, and by the way,
actually uncanny.
Henrik shared it on his social media. Jota shared it on his, and it's fucking blown up. It's magic, man. It's scary how I like it is though the finish.
It's
really scary. See a four-way just to jump on, because Alistair's been mentioning this boy in the chat comments all night, and there's been going back and forth. So I need to bring this up. So he's asking, would you take Duke for Aberdeen for $2 million? He's raving about him all night in the chat.
Duke, aye. I don't know if I'd pay $2 million for him. He looks a decent player.
I don't see where he's going to. Does he play in either wing? He play in the wing, or is he striker?
I think he might be through the middle, but Alistair, if we're wrong, let us know in the comments. But I think he's a decent player, but where does he fit in this team?
That's what I see. I don't see it. If he does play either side, we've got James Forrest that can't even get in there and can't even get second choice in either wing.
Even through the middle.
I don't see how. Even through the middle, exactly. Totally Haksabanovic can't even get a sniff, and what about his comments? Just to move away again, what about his comments during the week? If only Yakimakis had that train of thought, he would have been still at the club, still banging in goals for us as well. He knows how big the club is, and he's willing to work and get his chance. It was spot on in the comments that he.
It was bang on. He said that he's self-patient. That was the main word I took for it. But he knows that the team's playing really well. He's came in when the team's playing really well. He got an opportunity at Tynecastle, and he probably knows in his own mind that he didn't take that opportunity, and he's probably kicking himself for it. But he'll get another opportunity. And by the way, not to give away my team, but I think he'll get the opportunity tomorrow.
Duke's not coming in, Stephen, right? Stephen still wants Mugabe at the back. But I said I was going to get Jota's quote for during the week. Now, be wary, goosebumps and that when you hear this. So, It's just an unbelievable time to be alive right now. I'm so grateful to be in a team that plays this kind of football. I've played like this all my youth, and this is just the way I want to play football with these principles. He's loving life here at the moment, and like I said, I think it's reflective in his play. And I mean, for a prospect and a boy with a talent at that age, I don't see why you would want to be anywhere else than where you are now. Progressing under a forward-thinking manager and a team that's absolutely dominating and winning trophies for fun. I think that a lot of the people in the comments have said that the ceiling's like the limit for there's no limit for Jota. He can go on, and I agree with that. But I think at this moment in time in his career, I don't think there's a better place for him. And the love affair between him and the fans at the moment is magic. And that song is like I sing it every single day. The wife whistles it round about the house because she hears it from me singing every single day. It's just non-stop.
He's by the way, just to sort of finish on that.
Mm-hmm.
He's just an out and out Celtic player, like an out and out Celtic winger. He's everything that a Celtic winger should be.
Play the Celtic way.
Jinky Jota.
Jinky Jota. I like that. Aye, so Jota on the wing, superb. Let's look ahead to the game on Sunday. And before we go into the actual game itself, the other mob across the city, know that it matters so much at this moment in time because they're 12 points ahead, but it has mattered throughout the season. They're playing before us yet again, and you spotted this a few, I would say actually more than a few weeks back, Ross. And I kind of goes back to the sort of political side of things again, but there was a stat came out last night. I think I seen it, and I just thought of you straight away when I said it because you've been banging on about this for weeks. But like I say, it doesn't matter so much now because we're so far ahead in the league. But throughout the season, we've played before the Rangers 6 times this season. We've played at the same time as them in the league 7 times this season, and we've played the day after or later in the later kickoff after they have 17 times this season. What do you make of that?
The pesky supercomputer. I am writing a letter. I think it's absolutely unbelievable to say the least. It's appalling. Now, what was it you said? 17 for them.
They've finished. They've played 17 games before us. We've played 6 before them, and it's been 7 at the same time.
Right. Well, so that's 17 now, right? So you take into account. I can accept, right? It's 17. And you look at when we played in the Champions League, right? So maybe they had to play before us, say 3 times, because we've played on the Wednesday, so we have to play on the Sunday, so to speak.
But they were in the Champions League as well, weren't they?
Aye, but what I'm saying is, so one of them would have played Tuesday, one of them would have played Wednesday, so then you have to play Saturday, Sunday. So I can accept that you could maybe take 3, obviously at most, off of that. So say that takes it down to 14. But then we're playing the Mora again.
They're playing tomorrow. We're Sunday, yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
So that sort of puts 1 up again. It's incredible. And they talk about a level playing field,
yeah,
and all the rest of it. For me, I think everybody knows it. If you're going into that amount of times, Celtic have been top of the league for the most part.
Yep.
If you're going into a game 9, I think we've been 9 points clear since maybe certainly November, December time, I would say. We were 9 points clear before Michael Beale came in because he still was that enough times. But to go in for probably since we went 9 points clear, maybe 10 games, say. I don't know exactly. But 10 times to be able to play first and take it to 6 points rather than
then us
go into
moving
a game,
forward.
go in 12 points behind.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. It's not an advantage
The beer
on
machine's
the
just went
park.
off.
It's not an advantage per se on the park, but psychologically before you go into that game, that is a massive, massive
Advantage.
advantage. That's the word. It's a massive advantage. And you're not going to tell me if Celtic and Rangers had played the same amount before and after each other that this gap would still be 12 points. I think it would be more. And I think that they've done, the powers that be have done everything in their power without anybody being
as obvious.
properly to be. Aye. They've done everything in their power to make this as interesting as possible.
That's a good point you made there, because when I've been looking at it, I've always thought it doesn't matter. I think it's as good a motivation for us as a team. If they drop points, it's a motivation for us to go and just get further ahead. If they gain points on us, it's still a motivation for us to go and do what we do. But you made a brilliant point there about if it's the other way about and we're putting the pressure on them, I reckon you're right. I reckon they would have crumbled a lot more than they would have done playing before us. That's a really good point.
Absolutely. Because, and the reason being is because we're the ones ahead. So if we extend, everybody knows it, if we extend out in 3 houses. I don't know. If we extend that lead, it's so difficult. Like if Celtic, well, no, if Celtic, when every single time Celtic have had to play after Rangers, it's credit to them. They've won the game, Rangers, and then credit Celtic because they've won the game as well. And I'm not saying Rangers wouldn't win the game, but it makes it that wee bit more difficult. And there's games where Rangers have won by the odd goal, and they've not always blown. In fact, they haven't. The only time I can remember them blowing somebody away was probably Hearts at Tynecastle 3-0. Other than that, I don't think it's been like, wow, this is. They've absolutely humbled teams or whatever, like Celtic have. But and that for me makes it where it would, if Rangers were going into a game 12 points behind instead of 9 points, possibly 6, it makes it all the more difficult. I don't think that's a fairly obvious thing to say, but it's
no, it's a good
evident.
point, mate, because like I say, when you mentioned it weeks and weeks ago, I was a bit like, that's a bit. But my whole thinking was, like I said, I don't think it matters whether they win or lose. We'll be motivated either way. But I never thought about it for the other side, and it's us putting pressure on them. It's a fair point. But looking ahead to the game, Kilmarnock on Sunday, do you think there'll be major changes? What's your team going to be? But when you say that, I can still hear it when you say it's my turn to go for a opinion. So here's what you think about it. If you think there's going to be changes, and here's your team.
I don't think there'll be loads of shit. It's weird. I'm going to speak to Wally. Speak to him when he's not there, but he can still hear me. First sign of madness. I think that there'll not be wholesale changes in the team, but I think there will be some off the back of the weekend's performance. I think that Joe Hart will start. I think it will be obviously the same back four. Alistair Johnston, guy's never held a jacket in his life. CCV, Starfelt, Taylor, midfield 3. I think Awata will come into the team, and I think it will be, with hindsight, the midfield 3 we should have started with at the weekend. So I think it will be Awata, McGregor, and the 8, and O'Reilly in the 10, because Ange said that Hatate and just Hatate, he'll not be back, but I don't think Moyes. I think we all seen that he wasn't 100% fit last week. I just think give him a wee bit more time, bit more training. So Awata, McGregor, and O'Reilly, and I think the front three sorry, will be Jota on the right. I would drop Maeda because I think he's had a few indifferent performances in the last few weeks. I would give Haksabanovic his chance, and I would play Kyogo as per right through the middle. What do you think of that, Willie?
Alistair Johnson has never held a Jake in his life. It's the best thing I've ever heard.
Don't cross him because you and your homies might be lined in chalk.
I think about a lot in the. There's a lot in the comments. I don't know if it is now because obviously I've not been there, but earlier on people were putting their teams out, and there was a lot of clamour for a lot of changes with the likes say Kobayashi and pardon me, a lot of these guys getting a chance. I mean, well, I will ask you your score, but do you Kilmarnock aren't gone great guns this season. Do you not think that it could be an opportunity to kind of rotate a bit more? Or do you just think that consistency is the key? We've got a big game coming up in the semi-final, which is make or break for our biggest rivals. That's the only thing they're playing for this season. And you just think that consistency, as it has been all season, I know he's rotated a bit. Well, he's rotated most weeks, but it's only been 2 or 3 players here and there. Do you think the consistency is the key, or do you think that with the likes of Hatate and that taking injuries that you don't really want to risk some of our bigger names? For example, if Kyogo pulled up with an injury, I know personally going into that semi-final I would be far less confident than I would with him going in. I think there's 2 or 3 players that I think in that team where I'm going, if they hang an injury. But again, like I said, or is it consistency is the key? These guys want to play. Let them keep playing and just do their thing.
I understand where you're coming from there. In terms of Kyogo, I totally get that. He could play and I'd be quite comfortable with him coming in at Kilmarnock, certainly on the plastic pitch as well. So you make a good point there, you do. If O starts tomorrow, I'll be more than happy if Kyogo starts. For me, I don't think Ange will change it because, like you say, it's the continuity. It's as much as we all know it's done. Probably guys inside the changing room know it's done, but they won't come out and say it in public. And they will go it'll be all systems go until it is done. But at the same time, you know it yourself, we've got that cup semi-final at the end of the month. As much as you want to sort of wrap guys in cotton wool, you don't want to take them out of the team for 1 or 2 weeks and lose that sort of rhythm, if you like. Not that they were in a great rhythm last week, but it's one of the ones you weigh it up and you look at it and you go, right, okay, we could wrap them in cotton wool, give O a chance, give some games, minutes. It's a difficult one. There's no right and wrong answer to that, in my opinion. But it's just whatever the manager feels on the day that can win the game. If he feels that O can win the game, he'll play him. But
do you think that Ange thinks like that? Do you think that Ange thinks, that's the game of the season now, between now and the end of the year? I can't have Kyogo missing in that
semi-final.
Aye. Do you think he thinks like that, or do you think he just thinks, no, I'm going to play the team that I think is best suited for the game, and they should go out and win that game. I'm going to play my best players.
I think he goes with the latter there. I think he just plays his best players, and if they get injured, then it's on him. We'll start tomorrow. We are fuck games. So, that's a very fair point, Alistair. Aye, but you can.
Because now that we've talked about it, I know. Because see, now that we've talked about it, because obviously Kyogo starts every game, and he should, because he's been absolutely clinical and brilliant for us. But I think that Sunday's a good chance for O to come in and show what he's about. I think that Kilmarnock are a side that are down at the bottom, lacking in confidence, and I reckon it's a good opportunity. But I'm not so sure the manager thinks that way.
Well, I agree. I don't think he thinks that way, and again, I agree with you. Like I've said, I'd be okay with all starting, but I think knowing what I know of Ange, I think he'll start with his strongest team, and
Me too.
it'll not be far away from what I've sort of
Yep.
said. I'll be wrong. Haksabanovic will probably no start. Kyogo will probably no start. Starfelt will no start. Hart will no start. But you know what I mean. I don't think it'll be too far away from what I've said there. What team do you think will start?
I think he'll just go with the. I think he'll go with the exact same team as he played Saturday. I just think that's the way he is, and that's how he plays. I think when we are, I was going to say that I think that when we're playing against, I was going to say when we're playing against teams that were maybe not as in control, but we're in control against pretty much all teams and domestically. Then Maeda is obviously the first name on the team sheet, but I think that when we've got a majority of the ball, Haksabanovic and that should have license to let loose. But I mean, we've pretty much got control of possessions against every team in the league. So, it's interesting. I just think I would just like to see a couple of players get a wee run out. I'd like to see 2 or 3 changes. I agree with you. I'd like to see Haksabanovic come in. Possibly just a couple, just to kind of freshen up and give us a look at these guys as well. But I don't think you said you scored, did you? I think
I didn't know.
Another comfortable day at the office. So.
Aye, probably. Let's go 3-0.
3-0. Easy 3-0. I'll go 4.
4.
I'll go 4. Aye. I think he'll start Moy again. I think because there's been a bit of backlash on him after one poor performance again. He's been excellent all year. I know he's maybe wasn't fully fit, but I think he'll go with him, and then hopefully Moy puts in another outstanding performance as he has done all season. And people might get off his back.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Stephen. There was a bit of debate in the chat. I was expecting it would have been great for him to be on the night, although we wouldn't even have talked about Moy, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Nah.
But listen, that's us for the night. I've thoroughly enjoyed it as usual, mate. Another just wee quick word, because I never did it at the start, for fucking Alistair. Alistair's partner's brilliant, by the way. That's for all the older generation.
Fucking second zag. By the way, I'm having it.
Who's zig and who's zag, Alistair?
By the way, well, I mind
aye, I'm just going. That's what I was just saying. I never did it at the start, so we shout out to Sharna if you want to get on the discount. I think we've got a discount code somewhere, but it's not running along. So I've probably no clicked on it.
It usually comes along, but I don't even notice that.
Message one else if you want it, but you get like 10% off.
John will be raging.
Did you see that? Did you see the boy for what's the boy for Clyde won a 4th one of that? He was interviewing Lewis Capaldi the day or yesterday. The big DJ, can't mind his name.
George Bowie.
Was it Bowie? He was wearing the Sharna gear.
Oh, is he?
Aye. They're doing well. The boys are doing well. I've got a wee decent to sell, and I might have to look and invest in them more. But really enjoyed that, Ross, as usual. Chatting away about Celtic, it doesn't get much better, does it? Even though that it's lots of nice comments. You're a nice bunch, guys.
Cheers,
nice bunch. Did you enjoy that tonight?
I really did, mate. As I said at the start, I've had a lot of stuff to get off my chest. I've been putting things in our chat and that. I don't like to get too involved on the sort of like forums and that. I get too carried away. But this platform that we've created is a good wee place to get things off your chest, especially in the aftermath of what happened last weekend and what's happened in the week since. A
bit out of the norm for us as well, because we usually just like to talk about what goes on the pitch rather than off the pitch. So it was a nice wee change, but appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Not so long, not as long as usual on a Friday night. It's usually about 15 hours, so done all right.
My bad.
Thanks for that, mate. We will try our best.
Terrible.
He's
I love that,
obviously-
man. That's the kind of shit I would say.
Lots and lots of love. Appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend, guys and girls and pronouns. Enjoy the game Sunday. All the best. Hail, hail, troops. Thank you.